Hello, welcome to Get Your Mind On. I'm Lori Stohs. My team would tell you that I use a line very consistently called, use your resources. Use your resources. When you think about resourcefulness and people being resourceful, what a great talent that is. Well, is that a talent? Or is it something you can learn? Well, when you think about resources, it's really interesting when you think about people being able to figure things out on their own. How many times do you have people when you feel like you have to guide them step by step and tell them every little thing versus those that you can give something to and you know they can kind of figure it out on their own? What a great gift that is. And when we think about using your resources, you might think about it to that level of the person that I just described, or you might think about it organizationally when we think about using your resources. Obviously, for the past year, I've been connected, or year plus, with a startup. And when you think about a startup and being lean and thinking about resourcing, you think about, gosh, how can you do less with more? How can you continue to be lean and do less with more, just even in processes with money, whatever it might be? So that's sometimes when we think about resourcefulness, we think about how do we really plan, how do we really deliver, and how do we really execute with the best that we can do. So that's also a mindset when we think about resourcefully. And I think about when we're being resourceful, that it's really about what is the plan that we may have, but we're going to anticipate some challenges. We're going to anticipate some setbacks. But really is, where do you come up with your resources when those times come? Can you plan for that? Well, sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. So are you a person that's resourceful? It's really about redefining the possible. Sometimes we think, oh, it's not possible. Do you ever have people in the organization saying it's not possible? And then you have others that go, oh, it's possible. And they're coming up with all these new and different ways of doing things. We should be that way all the time. But some of us have more of that in us than others. But when we're redefining the possible, it's really thinking about how we can quickly and cleverly overcome any of those barriers that may come our way, or how we can really quickly and cleverly be more efficient. So some people naturally come to us with the problems, right? They're the ones that go, oh, we have a problem, we need to fix this and fix that, and there's no way around it, right? That's not really what we want to be, right? Those are limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs that we can't do it. There's always someone in the company who can really help us think more creatively. And so we really have to think about, how do we define the possible? And really, when you think about success, is not about the resources. It's how resourceful you are with something you have. Let me say that one more time. Success is not about the resources you have, but it's how resourceful you are with what you have. So being resourceful. So let's talk about what that really means. So digging deeper into some of the behaviors around being resourceful. You may not naturally say, gosh, I'm not maybe the most creative person. That's okay. There's lots of different ways to get to be resourceful. So first, let's talk about the resourceful mind. There is a power behind the mind of people who have that creative mind to think differently. They can make something out of nothing and have a waste of one product and recreate it and sell it and make more money, right? It's kind of simple basics of going back to the donut and the donut holes, right? The donut holes used to be tossed away, and now, guess what? You can buy donut holes. That's a very, very simple thing, but there's lots of ways to do things differently. So some people have a creative, resourceful mind to come up with clever ideas. That's one way. Second way is just determination and drive. Some people are just determined to find the right answer, and so they have a drive about them that's just wanting to really accomplish. Third is then willingness. Sometimes you have to be willing to really think differently and willing to do things different. You kind of have to have that will within and that desire to accomplish. Next is courage. Bold courage. You think about some of the things when times are tough. Some of these decisions when you're dealing with resourcefulness are life or death decisions. It could be, with some of our military experiments or military endeavors. It could be in the surgery room. It could be with a physician. It could be any of those kinds of things. Being resourceful at the time when things are going bad, when we have moments Okay, moments of time. There has to be bold courage to try something different, to really do something different, to say, hey, you know what? I can think quick and I can be on my feet and take some courage to do this. For some of you, you might still be saying, that's not me. The other thing is relationships. Who can you go to? Some of you have such great relationships and surrounded by amazing people that you might not be the one with the best ideas, but you might know someone else who is. So really thinking about who are those people that you can ask. You don't need to know everything yourself. None of us know everything. There's so much information out there. There's so many experts in so many areas. Use your resources. Pick up the phone and call them. Go online and search. Ask people. People really want to help. So use those as your resources. And finally, technology. Of course, technology is so much of our lives today. We're so attached to those kinds of things. And really, it's a resource at our fingertips. What can't we ask Siri these days, right? You can ask Siri if you can't even have access to typing at the moment. You can go online and search. You can still continue to use lots of resources in books and those kinds of things. So there's tons of technology that you can use to get anything at your fingertips these days. So really, we have no reason not to be thinking about our resourcefulness. So for positive charge this week, I want you to think about, 1, do you consider yourself a resourceful person? And 2, think about the ways you are resourceful. When I mentioned the different types of things, right? It might be your mind power, might be courage, might be relationships. And 3, think about a way this week that you can continue being resourceful and making things better in your world. So when we think back to that, when we think about being successful in our world, we shouldn't think about being resourceful only in tough times and only in times when we're challenged. We should think about being resourceful all the time. It should be a way that we live. We should be thinking about, to be successful, we should practice resourcefulness. Thanks for joining us today, and remember to get your mind on.